Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of Sports Shorts, presented by the now open L'Auberge Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge. I'm Ronnie Rance alongside Joel Davis. And hope everybody is having a good summer out there as we now are in the month of June, enjoying the summertime weather. It is hot as can be. I know many of you are at the beach, headed to the beach, so hopefully you enjoy that. As things are starting to open back up, we got bars that opened up. I had some friends' bands that were playing last week, so things are slowly but surely getting back to normal. But there's still a lot that isn't normal. And here we are in the middle of June as we tape here on June the 9th. No Major League Baseball and no Major League Baseball in sight. Like they might not even have a season, which is devastating for that league. They're nowhere near a deal with their players. The players are holding out for a prorated contract, to be a prorated amount of what they were supposed to earn. So you play 162 games during the regular season in baseball, and if you make $10 million, they wanted 162 into them $10 million. That percentage times however many games they play. Well, the owners don't want anything to do with that because they don't have butts in the stands, they don't have tickets sold, they don't have sponsorships, they only have the TV money. So they're wanting the players to take a lot less than that prorated amount, and so they're nowhere near a deal. NFL football looks like, at least right now, that it's headed to its normal time frame. We'll get to that in a minute as coaches got back to their facilities this week. And NBA at least has a plan. We know that July 31st they're going to start an 8-game regular season and then go into the playoffs with 22 teams that are kind of sequestered in Orlando, Florida. So there's at least a plan in place there. We know the NASCAR's had some events without fans. We know that UFC's had some fights without fans. We know golf is about this weekend is going to have their pro tour is going to start back up without fans. So some things we'll start to see on TV at least get back to normal. But with no fans, it's not normal at all.
I mean, it just takes it a little bit out of the whole repertoire of what makes sports great, right? The fans are part of what makes sports great. I mean, whether it's golf. I mean, golf is one thing, but when you see the fans, lining up to follow Tiger Woods down the 18th fairway and stuff like that, that's exciting. It makes it even better than sports already makes it, and. Major League Baseball is in a world of trouble right now. Financially, I can't even imagine being one of those owners right now. And, it's like, both ends are bad, right? If we pay them, with no fans, how do we make money? And, baseball has been having issues for years anyway with putting people in the stands, with a 162-game schedule. So they're in trouble, big trouble. The NFL, I know people personally that are not interested in the NFL right now. It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. College football is kind of where I see a lot of people's attention right now, especially in South Louisiana. I don't hear people talking about the Saints right now, and other than things that have been in the news with Drew Brees, but they haven't really been talking about the football aspect of the NFL. It's a lot of noise and stuff like that that's going on. So, look, there's a lot. These last 2.5 months have been just so weird, and I think it's going to change a lot in regards to what sports are, at least from now until maybe December. I truly believe that. I don't think that you're going to see this fall what we normally see during the fall in regards to baseball, football, and the likes. I'm concerned for high school football because I work in that field. I help high school athletic groups raise money. So, coaches need money more than ever right now, and they have to prepare more than ever right now because they're not sure if they're going to have people in the stands, if they're going to be allowed to have people in the stands. These coaches depend on those people and those gates and those concessions to fund their seasons. So a lot of people are a lot of questions out there, Ron. A lot of questions.
Well, I think the one thing we're starting to see is as the country is starting to relax its rules and people are starting to move about, go back to work, travel, those sorts of things. Unfortunately, we are seeing a spike in COVID, and that's going to happen. But the one news that I heard this week, which was promising, as we see, back about a month and a half ago, the death rate, the percentage was, for cases, we've got 100,000 cases of COVID, it was running around 10%.
Yeah.
10% of the people would die. Now, most of those people, again, are all over the age of 65. You had more people that have died over the age of 90 than you've had under the age of 18.
Right.
But what we're finding out, in the World Health Organization put this out this week, that it looks like their data is showing that if you have COVID and you're asymptomatic, meaning you don't have any symptoms of it, that you can't spread it. You can't have it. Whereas, that's different than maybe some other viruses and things like that, where if you have it, you may not know you have it, and you can give it to someone else. This is looking like, the data is looking like that if you have it, then you're not sick, you're not showing any of the symptoms, then you can't spread it. And that's good news, because I think what's going to happen as we test more, as more and more people testing becomes available, you're going to see that percentage of death drop lower and lower and lower. Now it's down to about 5% of the cases. And I think as we test everybody, you're going to start to see that number go way, way, way down to where the risk factor becomes, hey, if 1% of the population is then hey, if they get sick, if you're not feeling 100%, stay your butt home. Don't go to the game, don't go to the store. If you're coughing and wheezing and you feel weak or any symptoms whatsoever, then self-quarantine yourself. I mean, people are going to have to start to do that.
Well, that's the problem. Are people going to do that? Or are they going to still go to work? Are they going to still go to the mall? Are they still going to go to the grocery store to get that loaf of bread that they desperately need?
I think most people are. I think as business owners and managers and people like yourself, you're going to have to be probably a little bit more lenient on your employees, right? Like if you're not sure, if they tell you they're sick, you're going to probably have to believe them. Whereas before it was like, well, I want to see a doctor's note, I want to see this, I want to see that.
Please leave.
If it's like you don't look great, go home.
Please
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that's where we're going to be for a while. But the good news is that if this latest information that's coming out of the World Health Organization is in fact true, we've got 3 months to go before we get to football season. There's going to be a lot more data, a lot more numbers, a lot more testing. You're going to see a lot more people test positive for COVID, but yet have zero symptoms. And that's going to help the chances to put people back in stadiums and whatnot. By the way, LSU tested yesterday. As we tape here, players came back, I believe, or today rather. Yesterday or today they came back. And they're testing like all the SEC schools. We know that Alabama had 5 players test positive for COVID. We know that Auburn had 2 or 3 players test positive. All of them were asymptomatic. They had zero symptoms whatsoever. Didn't even know they had it. Right. So granted, they'll quarantine them. They'll do some things. But the bottom line is that it's looking like even if you have it, if you don't feel anything, any symptoms, you're going to be good. That's good news to possibly.
Where was that information?
Yeah, but it takes time. You got to have a sample size. You got to have data. You got to have many thousands and millions of cases.
This is the problem where we're at. It's the sky is falling, and I get it. The sky is falling first, and then it's okay. It's not as bad as we thought it was. I mean, maybe that's the safe approach. Maybe that's the way you have to do it.
Well, look, Arizona, which is a state I lived in, that was my home base for 7 years in the 90s. Arizona's hospitals, are close to 100% capacity right now because they relaxed things. People went back, and the weather's warm over there and beautiful this time of year, and people moving about and going crazy, and all of a sudden now they're having issues. And granted, nobody wants to be the bearer of the bad news to say, shut everything down, stay home. But I do think by doing that, they kept us from being Rome, Italy, which is bodies in the hallway, burning bodies because there's nowhere to put them. It kept New York City and places like that with the population from exploding beyond measure. Now, the key is going to be how do we handle it as a community going forward because it's going to spike as you lose. It's going to
spike. It's going to spike for sure, especially with all the protests that we've had over the last
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I mean, I mean, how does it not going to spike in some of these areas? Like, I mean, it's, to me, if there is no spike in those areas, New York City, California, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and those areas where you saw some of the larger protests, I mean, if you don't see spikes in right now in the next couple weeks, then to me, every football stadium should be open for business. Now there'll be some protocols there, masks, whatever you want to call it. Make sure that there's masks on every single fan in the stands. But there were hundreds of thousands of people rallying in certain areas, and I'm interested to see what happens there in the next couple weeks to see if we have a large spike. Because if you don't,
yeah, New York City opened 15 clinics around their city just for testing for protesters. Like if you were a protester, if you were in the streets, then they're directing you to 15 clinics over the next few weeks to get tested because they want to make sure and see, again, with the data that you're looking for.
And that's an area that can't take another step back. It's already had a really, really tough go.
The one thing that you won't see, you may not see, is it might not be as crowded in the Superdome as you thought. Because, obviously Drew Brees has been a tough week for the Drew Brees, been a tough week for the New Orleans Saints. Drew came out with some comments last week that, in my personal opinion, were kind of taken out of context. He was talking about the flag, wasn't talking about George Floyd. He upset his teammates. He upset the community by saying he would never agree with anyone ever kneeling and not standing for the national anthem. And he went on to explain what it meant to him. That didn't go so well in the black community right now. And we've seen Drew Brees, we've seen his wife, we've seen the Saints, we've seen the NFL all backtrack off those comments, apologize, change their course of action moving forward.
Yep.
I think you're going to see every player and coach kneel in the NFL for the anthem this coming year. I think it'll be a rare one-off if you see somebody not kneeling. And there'll probably be somebody who had an old guy who had military a background or something like that. And because of that, I already know of two people. We know of a couple people that have already canceled their season tickets with the New Orleans Saints because they're not happy with how the NFL has changed course on its stance with the national anthem.
I don't think that's the reason. I mean, that's part of it. But I think the biggest reason why I know of a couple people that have canceled their season tickets is because of the way Drew Brees was treated. And the way he was attacked and vilified. Yeah. And, I don't know Drew Brees, but, by seeing what he's done, the philanthropy that he's done, what he's done in the community, a lot of the things that he's done tells me that he's not the guy that everybody was saying he was. Shannon Sharp telling him he should retire, all these different people. I don't know the dude. He could be a raging racist, Ronnie. I don't know. Because I've never talked to him. But I highly doubt that because of what I've seen in the way.
It's impossible for him to be a racist.
It's not impossible.
For play 19 years in the NFL,
I agree.
Be in a locker room with 75% African Americans, and be beloved by all of his teammates.
Correct.
Every place he's ever been. There's no way he's a raging racist.
I agree with you. But there's people on the other side and on this side that would say you're wrong. That he could be a raging racist. I'm just saying, from the way I was brought up and from everything that I know, that dude is a good person. He's a good man. He's a family man. He is he'll take his shirt off his back and give it to you, right? So to me, I say there's no way, but I don't know. I wouldn't bet my life on it, right? Would you bet your life on it? I wouldn't bet my life on it, but at the end of the day, I feel pretty good about it. That he's not the guy that everybody was saying he was. You had guys like Booger McFarland going on there saying
everybody. No, not just everybody.
I'm just naming a couple.
There wasn't one person that didn't like what he said. There was even Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal came out 24 hours later. They forgave him and they understood where he was kind of coming from and basically said, bad timing, Drew.
It was bad timing.
Should have been more,
But
even Charles said I was hurt and bothered by what he said. So there is not an African American human that I know of that's come out and said, bro, I don't get it. I don't get it. He didn't do anything. They all say, I didn't like what he said. I was hurt, but I forgive him because he's a good person.
There are some African Americans that have been online in support of Drew Brees, but they are an afterthought. They are not. They don't. They
But
don't
have
count.
they said, I didn't see anything wrong with what he said? Or are they like, oh, I support Drew Brees because I know his heart? There's a
Yeah.
difference. The difference.
I agree.
That's the thing that as a white, man, and I hear those comments from Drew, I go to, yeah, it makes sense to me. He's talking about his grandfather. He's talking about his uncles that were in the military and fought for our country and what the flag represents and all that. Like, he's coming at it from that perspective. And I'm on board 1,000% with that way of thinking. But we don't know what it's like to be a black man in this country, particularly what's going on. They see the national anthem and their kneeling protest. They see that whole thing differently.
Totally.
We the best we can do as white citizens in this country is empathize
Sure.
and try to listen.
But I think that
But
what
we
you
don't
just said
know. We can't feel what they're
Well,
feeling, but
I
we
think
can at
that
least
what you just
empathize and
said
start to listen.
is what they wanted the white community to understand. Is it's not about that. It's about how we feel about it. Just because you feel that way doesn't mean we feel that way. So I think that that's kind of it. But at the end of the day, you probably want to be respected for your thoughts just as much as they want to be respected for their thoughts, right? So that's how you feel about the flag, and that's how they feel about the flag. But I'll say this again. I mean, I said this on the radio show, is I'm confused by it sometimes. I'm confused about the message. And that's because, they'll say, some people say that's not about the flag, and then some people say that it is about the flag. So, man, it's just a tough time, and it's hard to talk about it because you don't want to be.
You're scared to be lumped
you don't
in.
wanna be-
Because I feel like
Yeah.
right now, where we're at with the political correctness and the sensitivity of the topic.
Very sensitive.
That if you're a white man, if you're a white male in this country in particular, if you don't read the cue card of Black Lives Matter and you say it verbatim what they want you to say and how they want you to say it, if you deviate a little left or you deviate a little right, you put your own personal spin on it, not meaning anything, unless it's read exactly the way, then you're deemed a racist. And that's unfortunately where we're at right now. The political correctness
that's gonna turn
and the
a lot of-
microscope that everyone is under is so magnified that if you say nothing at all, you're offensive because you're not supporting the cause. But if you say something and it's not exactly what's on that cue card, then you're also in trouble. So it's a tough deal right now.
Yeah.
And probably what's best is people don't say anything until they really have made up their mind one way or the other exactly how they feel, because I think we're in a transition phase right now. I mean, we're going to take a break. When we come back on Sports Shorts, we'll talk about Colin Kaepernick. Because Colin Kaepernick, this is my thought on Colin Kaepernick. He is going to be the Muhammad Ali. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but in the 60s, the white man was not a big fan of Muhammad Ali. I mean, they didn't like him. They grew to love him. They grew to understand what he stood for and all that.
But isn't that what it's all about?
I'm telling you that Colin Kaepernick is going to be looked back at history in time, not right now. It's going to take years, like it took Muhammad Ali. There's a chance that the whole scope of what we think of Colin Kaepernick over the last 4 years is going to change in the next 365 days. And he may even end up back in the NFL. I would not surprise me if a team puts him on the roster, because that's how much the world has changed in the last 2 weeks in the United States when it comes to race relations and the way that we look at Black Lives Matter, the way we look at what happened and all that. And people can agree or disagree on all that, but it has changed and will continue to change over the next period.
It's got to change, right?
Yeah.
It's got to change.
All right, we'll take a break. Be back with more Sports Shorts presented by LeBears right after this. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBears Casino. Ronnie Rance and Joel Davis with you. With the weather being as great as it is, obviously LeBears is open 24 hours a day.
Did you just say the weather as great as it is?
As great as it is. It's been sunny as can be. I mean, we had a tropical storm that
It's
came through for
raining
24
right
hours.
now.
No, it's not. Came through for 24. I'm going to be on the golf course in minutes.
Unbelievable.
It's 24 hours.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This guy.
What?
Another golf game.
I haven't played
at
in 2
point-
days, Joel.
At what point do
I'm
you go back
shaking
to
a little
work?
bit.
At what point do you
I've been working, but there's only so much you can do, unfortunately.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
But
Because everything's closed still.
Yeah, a lot of things. A lot of things. By the way, my golf game, I
Regressed.
played with you, and it took a step back.
Yeah. Have you stepped forward since?
I shot with you 100. And then the
100.
next day, that was on Thursday, and then on Friday I played like a goofy game. I didn't load a score. It was like a scramble or something. On Saturday, I went to Beauchene in Mandeville,
And how was
near
that?
your old neck of
Yeah,
the woods.
yeah.
Shot 100 again. I mean, like back-to-back 100s. Like
Not a good golfer.
That's not good. That's not good. I shot an 80 couple weeks ago.
Well, the problem with you, Ronnie, is you're not committed to the game, right?
What are you talking about? I play just about every day.
Yeah, but I don't. No, I mean like committed to the mental aspect of the game. Physically, you're there. You're ready to go. I gotta go. But you don't do the mental aspect of the game, right? And that's your downfall, because that's why you're never going to progress. Is because you're going to continue to regress, because you're not bought in mentally. Like you don't know what is the wind? Which way is the wind? Is this a 100-yard club or is it a 110-yard club? Should I actually take my time and really think about this shot? You don't do the mental part.
By the way,
right?
I shot 100. Who did I tie?
Me.
You shot 100.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've played 3
and
times.
you're giving me advice.
I've played 3 times in the last 6 months. You've played 3 times in the last 3 days. It's a big difference. Like I said, if I played as much golf as you, I would throw 100 out there. There's no doubt, because everybody has a bad day. But there's no way I'd be as bad as you.
Today is gonna be a different day. I took a couple days off. I'm mentally cleansed. I'm ready to get after it.
All I know is as soon as I know my clubs, when I know my distances, that's part of my problem. Is I don't know where I'm at on the course. Like we played at the University Club. Very helpful for me, because I knew exactly how far I was out. Now I don't know all my club distances.
It has the GPS stuff, right?
Unbelievable. 90% of the golf courses that you go play on, that I go play on, you're looking for the yard thing. Where's
somebody have a shooter?
And I don't even know how to use those, but I'm looking for the little blue or the red or the white round disc in the middle of the fairway. And most of the time I'm not in the middle of the fairway, so I have to walk 100 yards to find it. And then how do I calculate how far I am off of that? So it's not knowing my distances, which plays into your mental game. Not knowing where you are, how far you are out. Not knowing, I haven't had this shot. It's been a long time since I've had the ball a foot above my feet. Those things can take away from your game and make you overthink the game. The more you play, the more you understand that, this is the way I need to hit this ball, because it's 4 inches above my feet, or it's 4 inches below my feet, or I have to turn my body a little bit, or I'm in the rough. These are shots you've had recently. I haven't had those shots. Therefore, it's mental anguish for me. you shouldn't have those problems at this phase in your game.
You're probably right.
You should be walking through this, and you should know exactly what club to use at 110 yards out. So why are you not improving? It's unbelievable.
I have improved.
No,
just not to the level
I
that
played with you, dude.
No, but I mean, like, come on. I had a 19-something handicap 3 months ago. Now I'm a 13-something.
Out of the 18 holes we played, 4 or 5, I would say at least 6 times, we were 150 yards out, and you're standing on the green with a hand on the hip, and your putter in your hand, and you're leaning on your
let's go, because y'all are slow.
No, dude, that's because you were so off path, and you're so mad because you were in the ditch, and then you were in the water, and then you were in the
People
crab
out there
island.
want to hear how bad my game is.
And you rush through it. You rush through the game, Ronnie. You can't rush through the game. You just don't rush it. Now you don't take forever either. But you don't rush through the game.
I think there's some value in the fact that I play fast. Check out.
Clearly, it doesn't help you.
Tune in to Sports Shorts Radio Saturday mornings from 10 to noon. We'll break down the game even more. Also, Lloyd, the intern, our producer and board op, he played with us as well. We'll talk about his round. Talk about a guy who plays slow. You can watch grass grow under Lloyd's feet. He takes so slow.
It's true.
We were talking about Colin Kaepernick before we went to the break and the whole Drew Brees controversy and whatnot. Colin Kaepernick basically got unofficially blackballed from the NFL. His attempt to try to get back in the league when he went and tried out last December in Atlanta or January, whatever it was a mess. Wasn't handled well by him, wasn't handled well by the league. It was kind of a farce. It never really got off the ground, and next thing you know, it's as if it really never happened. By the way,
and he is as much to blame for that as, like
absolutely,
you said.
but I think the league as well. I think it was a.
But I think he kind of knew.
I think they both.
When you look back at it, I think he kind of knew that he wasn't going to get that.
Right. It was just
so he just went through the motions, and
it was a facade,
and he made it. You know, he didn't help himself, but he didn't hurt himself.
Right.
Because he knew that it wasn't going to
anyway.
happen. Right.
It was a bad deal on both sides. The league is, to a certain extent, probably still bitter. They had to settle a lawsuit with him and some other players, an undisclosed amount of money. It's been reported it was a lot of money. So Colin Kaepernick got millions of dollars before. And it seemed like after this little tryout that went awry a few months back in Atlanta, that was it. We're never going to hear from Colin Kaepernick again relative to the NFL.
Right.
Maybe he will make a living or be active in political marches or Black Lives Matter or one of these organizations for black rights moving forward. But from an NFL perspective, it looked as if it was over.
It's over.
I don't know that that's the case now. I think that the African-American players in the league, I think the Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests and whatnot have made such an impact on our society in such a short amount of time, just in 2 weeks since the George Floyd murder, that now I think that the door is open. I think people are listening to what the kneeling was about and what it truly meant. And I think now people are looking at Colin Kaepernick each day a little bit differently, not as this vilified figure, this outspoken guy who just didn't get it and it was bad for the league. And now I think people are totally changing their tune when it comes to him. And I think as each day goes by, it will soften and soften and soften to where I think there's a chance that one day he will be thought of in the same lights as some of these other athletes. In 1968 in the Olympics, you had the Black Power with they wear the black gloves and they would have their head down during the anthem for the gold medalists on the stand or on the medalist one. People now look at them as sympathize with their cause and understand. Well, not back then, not in 1968. Muhammad Ali, the same way. And I think now the door is open, the possibility is open to see Colin Kaepernick back in the league, and he will be beloved by his teammates if he comes back, and he will be accepted and understood by the NFL, the organization, and a lot of the fans, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's going to play again, man. He's been out of the league for so long, dude. And, I mean, it's hard. Football is hard.
But there's some bad backup quarterbacks that are out there.
No doubt. No doubt. Blaine Gabbert's one of them. I just one that I can just mention off the top of my head. Blaine Gabbert's still in the league, and he's awful, right? But he can call plays, he can take a snap, and he can make a play. But so can Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
And so you're right, dude.
You
know what it is?
Blake Griffin, I'm sorry. Not Blake Griffin. That's
He's
the
a
basketball
basketball
player.
player.
My God. Our boy with the Superman socks.
Yeah.
Washington Redskins,
Yeah, yeah.
first pick. Baylor,
RG3,
Heisman.
Robert Griffin
Robert
III.
Griffin III. I knew it was a Griffin somewhere. RG3.
You said Griffith.
I know. It was bad.
So off.
But I
like
mean, it's
Blake
Corona.
Griffin.
You know, it's a day in day. The Corona. It's slow. The sports.
You got
He was with the
little-
Ravens.
You got the nasal drip or
He
something?
was. I'm good.
Into your
he was
brain
with.
function?
He's with the Ravens as the backup quarterback, and we
but-
saw him play a little bit last
But
year.
he's the perfect backup for Lamar.
I think Colin Kaepernick's better than RG3. From a standpoint of if you look at what Lamar Jackson does, it's much more running and more physical. He'll put a shoulder into you. RG3 is, you blow on him, he gets hurt. I mean, that's
He
been the
hasn't been
issue.
hurt in a while.
That's been his issue is that he
I'm not
gets
saying
hurt.
that-
He's frail. I mean,
Wilson,
Colin's not big boy.
I think the reason why a lot of people have a problem that they can't get out of their mind with Colin Kaepernick, and this is I'm going to tell you one thing that bothered me was the socks, the pig socks about the police officers. That doesn't sit well for people that have police in their lives, that have a close connection with police. That's my feeling on that, right? You may have a terrible opinion of cops. And that's fine. I get your feeling on that. But to me, my uncle was a cop. I've got a lot of cop friends. A lot of people that mean very much to me that are police officers. And I ain't happy when I get pulled over. I ain't happy, but I shut my mouth and I hand him my license. And, maybe he'll let me off. But 99.9999, I've been let off once in my entire life.
Have you?
Once. And how many times, Ronnie, I tell you all the time how many times I get pulled over.
Oh, yeah, I get pulled over all the time.
All the time.
Write a lot of checks.
Oh my God! There's so many days that I work for free.
Right.
So many days. And that's the way I look at it. Is when
Right.
I get pulled over, I'm working for free that day,
Right.
and then some. I'm probably working half of tomorrow for free. I get pulled over all the time, but the thing I do is, I did bad. I got pulled over. I know I was guilty. There's been one time that in Sulphur, Louisiana, that I was pulled over that I did not do anything.
Gave him a red zone card.
No, I should have. That's a good idea next time. But I got pulled over in Sulphur, Louisiana, for speeding, and I know I wasn't speeding because I was in an S curve going towards the interstate, and he wrote me up for 65 and a 45. And dude, I'm telling you, I was in the truck, my big truck. That thing ain't going 65 miles an hour through those curves. I wasn't going. I fought it. I went to court and I fought it. I didn't win, but I fought it.
So the cop showed up to court?
But I asked him, I still went through the process. I gave him my license because it wasn't suspended. I wasn't in any trouble. There's no bench warrants for me. So I hand him my ticket, I hand him my license, show him my insurance. I want to get out of there. There's no way, you're not going to talk your way out of it, right? So I have a different respect level, apparently, for police officers because my uncle was one, got shot in the chest. My uncle got shot in the chest, bro, by a shotgun. And I still got the news clipping because I look at it all the time because my uncle's like my dad. And one of my good friends is a police officer, multiple. So I have different feeling for police officers, even though they attack me on the interstate a lot. A lot, I tell you. I get pulled over all the time. And it's 90% of the time is because I was speeding. Okay? So, but again, handing the license.
What's the other 10, by the way?
10%?
Yeah, if 90% speeding, what are you doing the other 10?
Illegal turn.
Throw some trash out the window? What are you doing?
Shift. I got pulled over one time for changing lanes
Without a blinker?
in an intersection. Did you know that's illegal? You can't change lanes in an intersection under a red light. Pulled over.
Well, you ran a red light.
No.
Just in
I
general, you were in
changed
a
the
green. It was
lane.
green.
It's very simple. Changed lanes under a red light.
Gotcha.
Can't do that. Completely illegal.
Okay, am I not hearing that right, Marty? He said I changed lanes under a red light. Might have been the red light was the issue.
Well, they call them stoplights.
There you go.
Stoplight.
Okay. You were it was green and you went under a stoplight and you changed lanes. Okay,
Might have been yellow.
There we go.
Might have been yellow.
Probably
Who knows?
Probably was.
Yellow means speed
and you
up.
might have hammered it to get
Probably
through the
so.
light. Yeah,
But that's why I got pulled over. So anyway, neither here nor there. Back to the reason why I brought that up is I have a different vision the way I feel about police officers.
And you have a different vision of Colin Kaepernick because
Of that.
You don't think of him just as kneeling. You think of him as wearing the pig socks during the preseason game.
Yeah, like
when
and
right
maybe,
after the whole.
and dude,
was that Trayvon Martin? Or that was the guy in St. Louis.
I don't remember, but that
St. Louis.
You know, and I get it, dude. I mean, like I said, everybody has a different view of things, and if you're wanting people to listen to you, I want people to listen to me. If you want people to listen, people want you to listen to them, they have to listen to you too. So it goes both ways, and I'm willing to listen, man. I'm willing to listen to anybody, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go along with you. Doesn't mean that, right? And you're very brave for coming up in here and saying you feel like Drew Brees didn't say anything wrong. That's your belief. You may take some flack for it, but there's a lot of people that will say absolutely nothing that feel the same way you do.
Yeah, Drew Brees, in my opinion, didn't say anything wrong in the sense that he said, from his perspective, I'll never agree with anyone not standing for the flag because of my uncle and my grandfather that fought World War. Okay, the great thing is that we live in the United States of America.
Yeah.
You want to stand? Stand. You want to sit? Sit. You want to close your eyes, you want to turn your back like Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, and it cost him basically his NBA career and had to go play in Turkey because he didn't want to stand for the national anthems back in the day.
Well, I think that's where we are.
Initially, he sat. Keep in mind, Colin Kaepernick sat, and then it was a Green Beret, former NFL player that was
Nate
in the Green
Boyer,
Beret, who said, hey, look, it's much more disrespectful to sit for the anthem. Why don't you take a knee? That's more, So Colin Kaepernick decided, okay, yeah, I don't want to upset the military. I don't want to disrespect what you guys are doing. So yeah, I'll take the knee. That's your recommendation. A lot of times people forget that. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf sat. Same thing happened to him. Was that I don't know if he got advice or someone told him or he decided on his own, but he realized that was more disrespectful to sit during the national anthem when he was playing with the Denver Nuggets at some point when he changed his name and everything. So he decided to turn his back. He stood with his team, but he would turn his back to the flag. He was vilified for it. This was almost 30 years ago, by the way, 27 years ago or so. He was vilified for it, and basically, in essence, his career was cut short due to it, and he had to go play overseas for a number of years. He was, by the way, Colin Kaepernick was at the PMAC when Mahmoud Abdul Rauf's jersey was retired a few months ago at LSU. I mean, because obviously their stories align and why they did it is very similar.
Sure they've had,
it's oppression and all that sort of thing. Right.
Had that conversation.
So I do think that that the perspective is changing in the United States.
A lot of people's eyes have opened.
Right. Now.
People that look like me and you.
Right. Have a different perspective. They're listening more.
Absolutely.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. And look, I've talked to, I grew up in New Orleans East. I mean, predominantly, now it's, 95% African American culture, a lot of Vietnamese culture over there. When I was there, it was still a largely dominant African American neighborhood, but there was still this was 30 plus years ago. I grew up in that neighborhood. A lot of my friends were African American. My best friend was African American. It is when you get away from that, you start to change. But a lot of my best friends, one of my best friend growing up, he's a sports agent now, and the guy played and went to college. He played baseball professionally and all this stuff. He was telling me, he's like, bro, he plays golf. He's like, I've been pulled over a number of times, because I was a black man in a white neighborhood going to play golf. But what are you doing here? Wasn't doing anything wrong, and just didn't belong. Just wasn't in the right place.
And that's
he's
messed
got
up.
pulled over, and of course the officer's not real nice to him. It didn't end up giving him a ticket, but gave him a hard time on a couple different occasions. So when those things happen to you, and of course that's never happened to you or I.
No.
We've never in our life been, what are you doing here? Never. When those things happen to you, and they happen to your brother, and they happen to your dad, and they happen to
you build up animosity.
It changes the way you think and look at that. And that's the things that now our minds are opening into hearing and listening and having conversations about, where I don't know that we necessarily were 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick did what he did and others followed suit, and I don't know, in others. So it's a different world we're living in right now. Times are changing for sure. We'll take a break. When we come back on Sports Shorts, we'll talk about some of the other sports leagues that are going on as well. He's Joel Davis. I'm Ronnie Rance. Don't forget Sports Shorts Radio every Saturday morning from 10 until noon on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. Buzzy Heidel joins us, former LSU baseball national champion, and Lloyd the intern weighs in as well. Sports Shorts Radio, Saturday mornings 10 to noon on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. Check us out. We'll be back with more right after this.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough Sports Shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBaerge Casino. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction weekend has been moved back to December. I know we saw there in the commercial ahead at the end of the month, but we made that decision a couple of weeks ago. We'll get a new spot in there next week. But Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction weekend will be in the middle of December, which is really going to be cool because for 6 weeks from the Saturday before Thanksgiving all the way to the first of the year, Natchitoches is lit up. It's Christmas heaven. It's kind of like the North Pole. You got Christmas lights everywhere throughout downtown Natchitoches. You even have Santa's Village and everything else down there. So right on the riverbank, it'll be a fantastic scene. It'll be unique to have it during that time. It's never been held during the Christmas festival season. So we're looking forward to having Phil Robertson and Nick Saban and all the greats that are getting inducted. Tim Brando will be there and many others, along with past Hall of Famers that come back and participate in all that festivities that we have over a 3-day period. So go to lasportshall.com to get your tickets and for more information, but mark your calendar for December, middle of December for 3 days. It'll be a fantastic event. He's Joel Davis. I'm Ronnie Rance. We know that things are starting to move for LSU football. Again, there's still much unknown as to, will there be fans? Will the season be delayed? What's going to happen? Will they play postseason? Will they just play SEC games? Will they not? At the moment, everything's a go, but obviously everything's volatile and can change. But at least right now, athletes are back on LSU's campus from a football standpoint. They're taking tremendous precautions. They're being tested, and they're being every time they touch anything, it's being disinfected. They're constantly having their temperatures taken, you name it. But they're kind of being sequestered-ish like the NBA players will be in July when they get ready for that NBA season in Orlando. They're doing that now on college campuses throughout the country. Which means that now we'll get a chance to see the Miles Brennans of the world and see him in the Bo Pellinis of the world and how they will impact this team. It's going to be a very, very interesting summer. jam-packed with learning by this LSU football team.
Yeah. I'm very excited about college football. I really am, and I'm interested to see what LSU can do with the talent that they still have, with what Miles Brennan can do at quarterback. But we still haven't seen what he's possible and what he's capable of. I mean, we know he can throw the ball through a brick wall, right? We know he can throw lasers. But can he run an offense? Can he command a huddle? There's a lot of great athletes around him, man, that have done it, right? That have been there, done that. As far as wide receivers, Jamar Chase, are they going to respect him in that huddle when he makes a few mistakes, or is it going to create an issue? Look, wide receivers, they want their quarterbacks to play well. Just play consistent, right? Because if not, you start seeing this. Here we go. And it's not always about just getting the ball. Jamar Chase doesn't strike me as a guy that just wants to get the ball. The guy seems to be very competitive and wants to win too, right? That's important at that position. Michael Thomas reminds me of that. The guy that not only wants the ball, but he wants to win, right? And you got to have a quarterback that's capable of administering that, right? Or there's going to be issues, because that dude can hold you back in a tremendous way. That quarterback can hold you back in a way that is known across the board in the sports world. You got to have a dude taking those snaps. And Miles Brennan, we're going to find out really quick if he's the guy. And that's the most interesting aspect, not only for me, but a lot of football fans that are out there. I'm sure you too. I think the running back position is loaded. I think the wide receiver position is loaded. The biggest question mark for that offense is, can Miles Brennan do half of what Burrow did last year?
I think Burrow, the fact that he's been there, and now this is coming into his fourth year at LSU.
Brennan?
Yeah. I think Brennan is going to be fine.
You hope.
I think the issue for Brennan is going to be he's coming on the heels of Burrow. It's kind of like the Smoke Laval following Skip Bertman. That Smoke Laval wasn't a good coach. Went to Omaha 2 times in 5 years. That's kind of what Paul does. He was the second winningest coach in the SEC. The problem was you followed the greatest coach of all time. Burrow, you're following the greatest quarterback of all time in LSU history, SEC history, for single season college football history. Miles Brennan can throw for 30 touchdowns. It's only going to be half of what Joe Burrow did,
and we would be so happy with that.
But will we? I think our mind and keep. You mentioned Chase. All of these offensive guys came. They remember what it was like just a few months ago to be playing with this guy and the way that offense clicked with this guy. It ain't ever going to be like that. It's not even going to be probably 80% of like that. So the problem is that can everyone, the fans, the coaches, the players, adjust to a new way?
No.
Because it's not going to be as good as
Dude,
and that's the problem. And that's going to be the problem, is that I think Miles Brennan is going to be fine. I think he's going to be good.
Let me ask you something.
He just may not be great, and that may not be good enough.
What size bed you sleep in? I would assume California King.
Do you know the difference between a California King and a King?
It's longer and a little wider. It's a little longer, a little wider.
A little thinner, actually. California King is longer and thinner than the normal King.
You can see how many California King beds we make over at the Wood.
California King, I believe, is the size of a queen, but longer.
That is not correct.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you this. It's definitely longer.
Good. I'm not even in the furniture business, and I think I'm right and you're wrong.
My question is what size bed do you sleep in?
King.
Okay. How comfortable would you be in a twin?
Would not
for
be.
the next 6 months?
Would not be.
Okay. So my question is you're not going to go out and buy a twin bed to be you're not going to even go buy a queen because you're not happy. It's a step back. Let me ask you this. What do you date? You date 8s, 9s, 10s, 7s? What is the number?
I'd like to get back to the California King.
Okay, well, go ahead. Give me the number.
Here. Okay, Marty, you ready for this?
A king is 80 inches wide.
Hang on. A king.
79 inches wide.
A king. Dimensions in inches.
79 by 80.
I've got it right here.
Go ahead.
If you let me read it. A California King, just a king in dimensions is a 76 by 80.
76. Okay, 76 by 80.
Was that what you said? Or?
I said 79 by 80, but good. That's good. 76.
So 76.
We make our beds 79, so the mattress will sit in there. But go
so
ahead.
76 wide 80 long. That's what a king is.
Okay, we got it.
76 wide, 80 long.
We got it.
That's a king. Okay,
We got it.
A California king is 84 long, 4 inches longer.
From head to toe.
Head to toe.
Head to
That's
toe.
like Shaq's gonna make. He's got to get the 4 extra.
No, he
inches.
has a Shaq.
Well, he's got a super size.
He's a Shaq king.
But I mean, 84. long.
That dude ain't sleeping in an 84.
The California king. You got to guess, Marty, on how wide a California king is. Now, a king is 76. So California king, 84 longer, 4 inches longer. What do you think it is on the width, Marty? 82. Not a bad guess. The width.
I'd say it's 80.
72. It's 72 wide, which is 4 inches shorter than a king. But the California king is 4 inches longer. So therefore, Ron Rance was correct.
Yeah.
The guy who has a furniture company, makes furniture in Indonesia, and before that did it for another company for 9 years, did not know that a California
I don't do California
king
kings.
and a
Nobody
king
asked me for.
are
I don't do
different
mattresses, Ron.
So the California king is
mattresses.
exactly like I said. It's the width of a queen, because hang on, a queen. Oh, actually, it's not. The queen is 60 inches wide and 80 inches long. So the queen is exactly the same length as a king. It's just 14 inches. It's 16 inches thinner on the side. So I was right. You
crazy.
were wrong.
I
and
didn't
I'm
even
not
know.
even in the furniture business. But
I
you know
don't
what
sell
I am?
mattresses.
I'm a large human who has shopped for mattresses all my life, wants to be very comfortable, and at one point in time really considered a California king until I saw that, wait a minute, why would I get a
skinnier.
California king? It's thinner. And if myself and a friend are in this bed, it's going to be tighter, and I want space.
So the whole point of me
Anyway.
asking you this is, so the women you date,
Love that I'm.
the
love
women
that I
you
was
date.
right.
Let me ask my question. The women you date, on average, 5s, 6s,
I would say
sevens,
on average, is
on average.
7.58.
strong, very strong.
On average, 7.58 for sure. Yeah.
But enormous feet, right? Because there's got to be something wrong with them, because there's only for them to date you. Their feet probably look like this,
my
Marty.
God.
There has to be a reason why a
Unbelievable.
7.8 would date him.
Unbelievable.
So my question to you is, and the whole reason why I'm asking this is, would you see your average go to a 5? Would you be cool with your averages being a 5? That means you're
is this we bringing this back to Miles Brennan? Is that what
I
we're
am.
at? Okay.
I'm bringing it back to LSU
So
football.
Joe
I'm
Burrow's
bringing it
at
back to
2.
LSU football.
If
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's at 10, you're saying would I be okay with dating a 5? If I dated Joe, if I'm Joe Burrow's girlfriend, I'm living in Cincinnati. By the way,
No.
they broke up. They broke up. The one from Ohio
Imagine
State.
my shock.
Yeah. But if I'm Joe Burrow's girlfriend, I've been dating Joe Burrow, the Heisman guy. He's all over Sports Illustrated. We had the red carpet rolled out for us.
And he's
for a
got the
year
money,
and a
he's
half,
gone.
The whole 9, and then all of a sudden he's done, and I got to go
We knew
with
this.
the Buzzy Heidel insurance guy in Cincinnati.
We knew this.
It's tough. It's
We
a
knew
tough
this was gonna-
adjustment.
And we're still waiting for Mahomes to make the same decision, aren't we?
Yeah. By
My
the way,
question is-
no. What would Mahomes say? Any advice to does Patrick Mahomes have any advice to give Miles Brennan following a 10? Because Patrick Mahomes, by the way, who joins us here from Kansas City, he's dating his girlfriend from college. She's not quite a 10. He should be dating 10s because Brady's got Giselle, but she's more like a 6.5, 7. But Patrick Mahomes, do you have any advice for?
I gotta be honest with you, Ron. See, I've had so much success in my life that I have no correlation with him. I can't even. He's had hot girlfriends. I have not had hot girlfriends. But I am so good at football. I am so good, it blinds me. It completely blinds me because I don't know if you've seen my girlfriend. She is a complete toad, but I love toads. Toads are my favorite. I will say this. I've had many of frogs come at me. I've had many of turtles, many of swans. But I'm going to stick with that toad, baby. That's
Any
all I know.
advice for Miles Brennan as he's following in the footsteps of Joe?
Yeah, just don't think that you're Joe Burrow. That's all I'm going to say, because you are not. And I will say this, Ron. LSU fan, get ready. It is going to be ugly. It is going like my girlfriend.
Like your girlfriend.
That's right.
It's good to see Patrick. Congratulations on your Super Bowl win, by the way.
I was terrible, Ronnie. I was totally
Till the
terrible.
last 8 minutes.
In those first 3 quarters, my sphincter was so tight. I'm sure you saw it. But when it mattered, when it mattered,
You turned it on.
I did.
All right, we'll take a
Like
break.
my girlfriend
Final
does me.
segment of Sports Shorts coming up next.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough Sports Shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
By the way, just as we were kind of taping Sports Shorts here, Malcolm Jenkins, the New Orleans Saint, came out with a comment. He said, I still don't think the NFL has gotten it right. Until they apologize specifically to Colin Kaepernick or assign him to a team, I don't think that they will end up on the right side of history. Jenkins, who is the co-founder of the Players Coalition, said Tuesday in an appearance on CBS this morning. At the end of the day, they've listened to their players. They've donated money. They've created an Inspire Change platform. They've tried to do things up to this point, but it's been one player in particular that they have ignored and not acknowledged, and that's Colin Kaepernick. And that's exactly what we were kind of talking about on the show earlier, which is that it's amazing how that name, which was vilified, which was thought of negatively by millions of Americans, by the league for sure, who settled a lawsuit, undisclosed amount with him years ago, that now, I'm telling you, I think Colin Kaepernick is going to end up on a team this year.
And you very well may be right. And you may see that. He is definitely better than a lot of guys in the league. There's no question about it.
He said, Malcolm Jenkins, this just came out. That's why we're bringing it to you. That's the only thing people want to hear, Jenkins said, of the NFL's silence on Kaepernick. If it's not going to correct that or acknowledge that, then everything else don't need to be said. I'm talking about an apology to him. Goodell said in a video released Friday the NFL condemns racism and the systematic oppression of black people, wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier, and encouraging all players to speak out and peacefully protest. So naturally, Colin Kaepernick was vilified for basically what the NFL now is saying, go ahead, go do. You want a knee? You want to not? You want to protest? You want to not?
Things
go
change,
for it.
man.
Yeah.
Things change. Times change. Who would have thought that Drew Brees' words would make
Colin
such an
Kaepernick,
Drew
hero,
Brees.
Drew Brees vilified. 2 weeks ago, you could have had odds in Vegas 1,000,000 to 1 on that.
It's
a million
incredible,
how
man.
things
It's incredible.
have flipped.
And look, it's all about public perception. And right now, this is where we're at.
He's Joel Davis. I'm Ronnie Rance. You can listen to us this Saturday morning on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge from 10 until noon. Download the 104.5 ESPN app on your cell phone. Have a great week, everybody.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.